on, and you're live.
Thank you. Welcome to the Tahoe Truckee Unified School District Board of Trustees meeting of January 5th, 2022. If you will please all join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We're going to talk more this evening about safety protocols that we are continuing to modify based on surges in COVID locally, but you'll notice that the board is more spread out. We do have some members who are at risk, and we are trying to minimize the risk to our members and staff while continuing to hold our meetings in person. So just wanted to note that. We did meet in closed session this evening. We did take no reportable action in closed session. Superintendent Geisels, do you have any changes to this evening's agenda?
Yes, President Zurich, we do. Under item 11.0, consent agenda, 11.1, we are replacing the current personal action report with a revised report with one change.
Okay, so we'll pull that when we get to the consent agenda.
Yes.
Okay, terrific. Would anyone like to move approval of the agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented with the noted 1.1, or 11.1
Thank you, Dee Dee.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 That's 5-0. Thank you. Okay, next we do have public comment. I know we have folks this evening who would like to present public comment. We allow 30 minutes at the beginning of each meeting for public comment. If our public comment goes over 30 minutes, we will then take public comment again at the end of our meeting. Each public comment is limited to 3 minutes, and Joan Zapatini does a wonderful job, along with Lupita, of timing that and helping folks stay within their time limit. Folks do need to follow the district's rules, and that includes masking within any of our buildings. So this is not meant to be an interactive process, but rather this is our opportunity to hear what folks have to say. So don't expect that the board will be responding to the public comments, but we're here to listen to you. So because we have a little different setup, we're asking each person to state their name before public comment. Usually I would be reading their names, but we're not going to do it that way. So thank you.
Hello, good evening. I'm Margie C. Heder. Through the whole process, I've been labeled selfish by other public commenters. I've been reprimanded. Charges like with unsatisfactory performance, willful refusal to perform regular assignments, unfit for service, consistently refusing to obey state and school laws. Joan, and as the board designee, and all of you have stated that I'm insubordinate and that I'm a detriment to my students, other staff members, and the community at whole. But this is not me. I have an exemplary record. I'm an effective and very good teacher. My administrators and others would probably describe me as just, yes. I simply say yes. If I need to fill in for another teacher, I say yes. If they need me to teach an extra course and give up my prep period for a semester, I say yes. I'm willing to work with students and parents to resolve issues. I attend IEP meetings. I'm just all about service. And I'm open and I'm available to others. I'm willing to work. I'm able to work. I'm healthy to work. I miss my students in Truckee High School, the whole scene. I miss it a lot. I was a Christian club advisor. That club has no advisor right now that I'm aware of, and I miss praying and sharing with them. I have complied with all of the requests. I've turned in my keys. I've turned in my technology. I was told not to set foot on campus. I have not done that. I'm not a vengeful person. And so to state that I'm insubordinate is just wrong. You may say that you have no discretion to accept my reasonable accommodations because of the state mandates that you have to follow. But all of this is so new, and nothing, as you can see, nothing has been established as law. I want to serve God. I want to serve my students. I want to serve you board members. And I'm hoping that in the months to come, that things are still going to be continually changing, that we're going to take a look at natural immunity, that we can hopefully come up with a plan that would fulfill my accommodations and convictions, and then also abide by the state guidelines. Thank you.
Thank you, Margie. That's Jen Calloway.
Hi, I'm Tracy Cuneo, Truckee resident. And first I want to say thank you so much for opening schools live and in person, unlike many universities are doing. They're having online or not even allowing the kids on campus. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I think our kids have suffered enough. I had wanted to show you CDC's data, which I'd asked yesterday to present as a slide, but I'm only allowed to comment verbally, so I will send that slide. So per that slide, children 5 to 18 are virtually the lowest risk group, and we've had 2 years of filed data. I'm also going to send you and I haven't gone through it yet, it's just so overwhelming, but it's 400 studies. We've had 2 years and 50 studies.
I'm sorry, Tracy, I'm having a hard time hearing you.
Is it on? Not your fault, it's going on and on. Okay.
Better.
Now I can hear myself. I don't know what you heard and didn't hear. I have 400 studies. So many studies have been compiled over the past 2 years, and I will send them to you, but have certain ones highlighted because it's kind of an overwhelming number. There's summaries, really short summaries of each one, just fabulous information. And it's just sad to me that although 45 out of the 50 states have zero mask mandates, we are one of them that have mask mandates. The majority of those in the 5 states, of which we are one, live in fear of not wearing a mask and getting Omicron, for which is close to, death rate is close to 0 in the United States. And if anyone has taken a basic logic course, it makes no sense that per the CDC slide that I wanted to share, survival for children and adults who have had COVID-19 is far greater than the rate, and nobody is putting this in mainstream media at all. It's far greater than the rate of survival during the flu season in 2018, 2019. So we've had fewer COVID deaths. And then all the COVID testing, they're now showing, the CDC is saying that the PCR test, they cannot tell the difference between COVID and the flu. So we really don't know the difference between that. So some of the risks, I just want to go over some of the risks of mask wearing. Oh my goodness, I have 48 seconds. Cavities from facial deformities from the Journal of General Dentistry, acne and impetigo from the Mayo Clinic and Journal of Dermatologic Clinics, increased risk of COVID from an MD, the Center of Research on Globalization, and bacterial pneumonia has increased, immune suppression and fear in children. This is really interesting on masks. Masks are often worn by criminals trying to hide their identity while perpetuating an offense. They produce subconscious anxiety and fear. It's a flight or fight system, and this is done by the American Psychological Association. For this reason, Rockland Unified School District, in our Placer County education,
Thank you, Tracy.
has passed a resolution that they'll have no mandates of.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Lola Scholze. I have 2 students in the Tahoe City Middle School and High School. Today, I'd like to bring to your attention the correlation findings between obesity and COVID-19 in our children and some other facts that you might not be aware of. In July and August of this year, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention took a look at kids hospitalized with COVID and found that healthy young people continue to mostly evade negative health effects of COVID, that the majority of the children affected by COVID have underlying health conditions, most common to the tune of 61.5% is obesity. This study was based on 6 hospitals in the South where 713 adolescents under the age of 18 were hospitalized and had complications, and shockingly, 61.5% of them were obese, and astonishingly, 60% were morbidly or severe obese. Do you know how the CDC classifies obesity? I'll give you an example. A 10-year-old boy, an average height of 56 inches, that weighs 102 pounds, is considered obese because he should weigh about 68 pounds. So that's 22 pounds of extra weight that these kids are carrying around with them, and that's just for obesity. That's not severe obesity. Does that at all sound like our community of children here in the Tahoe Truckee Unified School District? Because you're sitting on the board for TTUSD, you are very aware of how healthy our community of children are, that most of our children play more than 2 sports, and that they have parents that moved here partaking in our sports and decided to stay because this is a wonderful and healthy place to raise children. The community that you were elected to represent ask you to vote no when the time comes to these vaccine mandates. Our students are healthy, they are not obese, their immune systems are perfectly capable of fighting off these viruses. Today, we know that the vaccines are not protecting people from actually getting or transmitting COVID. If anything, it's now the vaccinated that are spreading Omicron like wildfire, possibly because of false sense of security. Next, will we find out that these vaccines have a negative neurological effect on our young people? Is that a risk that you all are willing to take with the health of our children here in Lake Tahoe? I do believe we live in a bubble. May I remind you that these vaccines are only authorized and approved for emergency use purposes, and that they have not gone through the rigorous 5-year testing standards of all vaccines that have come before. Please be mindful that if this vaccine mandate passes within our school system, myself and several other parents will be withdrawing our students from North Lake Tahoe Middle School and High School. I thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Am I on? Hi, my name is Mark. I spoke at the last meeting, about the divisive, COVID measures that the Tahoe Truckee School District has decided to take. There's been, I don't really want to go into more detail on that, but there's been some kind of interesting changes in the world since then. As you all know, Omicron is now the main variant of concern, and it seems to be that the vaccinated are spreading it. So that really leaves me with the question of why are we doing these divisive mandates when all of a sudden now we know that, hey, the vaccinated are out there, they're spreading this variant that is, of concern to the vaccinated more so than the unvaccinated. It really doesn't make any sense, and it kind of justifies what we've been talking about forever. So, I'd really like for the board to go and think about that. If you're dividing people, the real question here is why are you dividing people? And if there is, a variant out there that you are concerned about and the vaccinated are spreading it, why are you pointing your fingers at us? As far as we know, it didn't come from the unvaccinated. We didn't create this thing. It seems to have evolved to get around, the inadequacies in your vaccine. So, I would like for the board to consider that. The second thing I wanted to go into is that there seems to be reporting now in the mainstream media about masks again. It's been known for a long time that COVID is actually an aerosol. And, cloth masks, surgical masks, they don't work. They don't protect you against aerosols. They were supposed to protect you against droplets. A lot of people in my community have been saying this forever and have been ignored. Lately, there's been articles in the mainstream media about this. They're going a different way than we'd like to go. They're saying, oh, you need an N95 at minimum. The thing is, everyone can't wear an N95 all day. It's unreasonable. So it really raises the question of if COVID is an aerosol, if the cloth masks don't work, why are we yet again doing this divisive thing? And it's not people in my community doing this divisive thing, it's all of you. We did not change the way we live life. We don't care about any of this. Some of us have had COVID. There's people who have had the vaccine who don't like the mandate. And we've all just kind of learned to deal with it, but we find ourselves in this world that, from our perspective, has gone completely mad. None of us have done anything to change our behavior. We're living life as we were back in 2019. But, the rest of the world seems to have gone off the deep end. So anyway, time's up. So Beverly, she gave me a voice message to play. On my phone
Nope.
to play.
Sorry. Nope, she can send it to us, and
So,
it
I
could
would
be,
love to do
I'm
that.
sorry, no.
You didn't make any accommodations.
Nerve-wracking because I have been wanting to come and speak for a long time, but I'm hearing impaired, can't hear in this ear. My name is Diane Tantamonico.
Thank you, Diane.
So when I got here and I saw the sign on the door, I was really excited for about 5 minutes. It says that you actually allow exemptions for people with medical issues like mine, but apparently not. So now my heart's beating again. This causes a lot of anxiety. I'm not trying to feel sorry for myself, but there are a lot of people like me. And now what happens is, since COVID, when you tell somebody that you're hearing impaired and you don't want to wear a mask or you can't or it's really difficult and it causes anxiety, they all kind of jump on you and act pretty rude. Anyway, so here I am, anxiety notwithstanding. I don't really know any of you except Dee Dee. I know you from the old days, skiing at Squat, Diane Peterson, I don't know if you remember me, and I know you to be a fantastic person. Stand up, I've always thought that, and I can only assume the rest of you are the same. So I am not making assumptions here. There are just a couple things I want to talk about. All of us here understand the abomination of slavery, yet our children, teachers, staff are being coerced into acts of slavery here on this campus in the form of masking, testing, and medical interventions. We are not the property of anyone. We are not slaves. Slavery is illegal. No one can arbitrarily force us into compliance for contracts not held, and we hold no contracts. You and I are on equal footing, therefore you cannot compel me to do anything that is offensive to my conscience or would violate my person or my property, nor can I compel you to do anything against your conscience. I'm really wearing this mask out of politeness. I don't want to wear it, and I shouldn't be. I think about the kids who have undiagnosed hearing issues, and I'm like enraged. Freedom from slavery is one of those well-established rights enumerated in the Constitution of this state and this nation. The Nuremberg Code, our international code, is still in effect. It's not some outdated code. Here are just a couple of codes that I want to read. There are so many more that you are in violation of, and I think soon enough you're going to know, because a lot of citizens are learning about how the Constitution protects us. For the most part, people don't know, they're ignorant, but we're learning quickly. Penal Code 242, a battery is any willful and unlawful use of force or violence upon the person of another. Battery equals unwanted touch, unwanted testing, stealing genetic material, forced medical intervention. This isn't a joke. Civil Code 43, besides the personal rights mentioned or recognized in the government code, every person has, subject to the
Thank you, Diane.
qualifications.
Your time's up. Thank you very much.
Diane.
That's the timer. I'm sorry, Joan?
Either of the last two are going to be in without a public comment.
Okay, thank you. I will close public comment. Let's see, then we will move on to our Superintendent Chief Learning Officer's report to the board.
Can I just ask? Was that last speaker offered the clear mask?
She was, I handed her one, it's somewhere, because I handed it to her, but she chose to put a mask on at the end.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
She said she did have respect, I thanked her for her respect when she left.
That's fine, thank you. I just want to make sure we made an allowance for her.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Good evening, Board, President Zurich. Tonight, I wanted to discuss the current state of COVID cases in our district. We wanted to let you know that our district is experiencing a large surge in positive COVID cases. As of 4:20 p.m. this afternoon, January 5th, we have a total of 123 active cases of COVID and almost 500 individuals in quarantine at this time. The surge in cases is similar to what's taking place all over in local counties across the state. It's also the largest surge of cases within our community that we have ever experienced since March of 2020. So bottom line, we're going to keep our students in school. That's our priority. We're going to continue to stay open 5 days a week for in-person instruction. We know this is how most students learn best. Students are our safety and our focus, and they are the focus, as you know, of all our decisions. At the same time, we need to address the surge. So effective immediately, starting tomorrow, January 6th, and through Friday, January 28th, we are going to be implementing some temporary restrictions to keep students and staff safe to prevent any further spread of COVID-19. And these restrictions are as follows, and Mr. Santos is going to help me with a few of these. So effective tomorrow, we are pausing all extracurricular activities. I know some of these restrictions will sting and will probably upset our parents, but we're doing it to keep our schools open. So when we say pausing all extracurricular activities, we are including sports, games, practices, band, theatrical performances. We know this is very hard for our students and our families, but it's necessary. It's a necessary short-term step that we must take to stop the surge that we're currently experiencing. Also, we're asking that volunteers not be allowed on campus until the remainder of the month, until January 28th, and that we also are asking that no visitors be allowed on campus until January 28th. Again, we are doing this so we can put a pause on the surge and keep our schools open as we have always wanted to do. And then effective Monday, we are going to be implementing for any new COVID case a quarantine protocol that Mr. Santos is going to be talking about.
Yes, thank you. First, just like to recognize our nurses as always and our health tech. They have been putting in so much time with this surge that we've experienced coming back from break, as well as our testing leads at all of our sites. So I want to give out thanks to them. Yes, so effective Monday the 10th, we are now implementing any student who is a direct contact of a positive case at any grade level, regardless of their vaccination status, are on home quarantine for 10 days. So again, any student, close contact identified to a positive case, home quarantine for 10 days, regardless of their vaccination status. Just for the public, this information will be sent out. It may have already been sent out to families.
6:30.
What's that?
By 6:30 to 7 tonight.
Yeah, so all of this will be in writing as well, so if I'm speaking too fast, you can check your messages soon. The other is any student who is symptomatic, and we realize that there are other things going around, but we're not willing to take a risk on that, just due to the sensitivity of things, especially our students' health and safety, including some of our immunocompromised students and staff that we really have to be protective of. So any symptomatic student, regardless, unless you have a prior note from a physician that says you have a pre-existing health condition or on home quarantine for 5 days and are required to have a negative test upon return. I'll talk about testing in a second. Any siblings of a sick or symptomatic student at home are also required to remain at home for 5 days and then a negative test upon return. We are finding that a lot of breakthrough cases through siblings, through family members, and so we're really trying to put a stop to this. Lastly, our elementary classrooms, we are looking at trying to minimize their contact amongst classrooms through this date as well. So all of this takes effect on Monday, and we'll reevaluate at the end of January on the 28th, moving forward on that. Are we going to testing?
Yes, please.
Okay. So as you all remember, last year we actually had testing for all of our students and staff cut it right out. We're going to be reopening our testing center there as well as here at the district office to accommodate the students that do need to get tested as well as our staff. We will have more information regarding the hours of those clinics and the location of the one here at the district office and how parents can access the testing for their children. So that information will be coming out either later on Friday or over the weekend, so keep an eye out for that as well. And that's all I have on that.
So what we're doing is any extracurricular event or field trip, we're asking our principals to see if they can reschedule for after January 28th. Again, it's a temporary idea, solution, restrictions, whatever you want to call it, to stop the surge or at least pause the surge that we're experiencing at this time. So wanted to let the board know that and the parent community right now this evening know that, and then again we'll be sending out a parent letter this evening to explain more. So if the board has any questions.
I don't have a question, I just have a comment, but I don't want to usurp anyone else. I just want to appreciate staff for making this very, very difficult decision, particularly for some folks who are involved, like my kids, when they were in school in extracurricular activities. But our obligation, in my opinion, is to do everything we can to prevent transmission of COVID within our walls. Mm-hmm. And I appreciate that that's what we're trying to do here. We have kids who are fragile. We have staff who are fragile. And I hear about, every kid does 2 sports. Yeah, some of them do. Some of them don't because they have cancer or they have epilepsy or they have other issues physically that make them very susceptible to this type of disease. And while masks are uncomfortable, and by the way, we don't mandate vaccinations, we do mandate masks. My child is going to be a doctor here pretty soon, and she wears a mask all day, every day at work, taking care of the folks who are suffering from COVID. So I have a hard time feeling a lot of sympathy. So I, again, want to compliment you. And I know we're all going to get some grief, and I know that we're all going to get a lot of thanks, because I get that continuously from parents who appreciate everything that we're trying to do here. But the most important thing that we're trying to do is keep kids in school.
Yes.
And we as parents have a lot of responsibility related to that. And the choices that we make or that we let our kids make affect that. So we're all in it together, but we want to keep our kids in school. So thank you for making some brave choices.
Thank you, President Zurich. Again, we will be monitoring the situation. This is only temporary. It's 3 weeks. We are working really hard to make sure that we stay open and remain open. And on a completely different note, I would like to introduce Lana Guernsey and Gilbert Y., who are on virtually. They're from the organization called Living Strategy, and they're going to help us revise our Strategic Plan 2020. So, and they are here with just a brief presentation on what to expect. Lana and Gilbert, thank you so much for your patience.
Okay, can you hear me now? All right, sorry, we had a little reverberation on our side. It's a pleasure to see you and a pleasure to be here virtually. I'll just do a time check. We have a couple of slides just to introduce ourselves, and we do strategic planning specifically for both public schools and all types of schools. We have a very active practice in California and beyond, but primarily the school districts that we work with are in the California area. From a time standpoint, it would take us probably maybe 5 or 7 minutes to walk through that. Is that something that's still amenable to your agenda, or would you like us to handle that in a different way?
That's perfect, Lana. Thank you so much.
Okay, great. If I can share my screen. Hang on just 1 second while I flip over to a presentation mode. Sorry, it says it's not giving me permission to share.
Okay, go ahead and try it now, please.
Oh, great. Thank you. Try that again. Okay, is that sharing? Okay, great.
Yes, it's sharing now.
Okay, great. Thank you. So what we've been in conversation with Superintendent Giles is regarding one of the things that we've been really impressed as we learned about the fact that the district was interested in conducting a strategic plan. You already have some really wonderful work that's been done in the past. And we've also heard from the superintendent that the district is already collecting a lot of data really to understand where opportunities exist to support your students, your faculty, your staff, and the community. So for Living Strategy, we do strategic planning for schools, and we have a 5-phase process that we've developed over the years to support school districts, governance teams, and leadership to be able to collaborate with their communities, identify areas of importance, and then turn those into strategies that can guide your individual schools in the school district over a period of about 3 to 5 years. Typically, we would conduct that entire 5-phase process within a single school year. Given the disruptions that everyone continues to see from COVID, and given the amount of data that you already have, we've worked with the superintendent to bring to you an idea that you might consider breaking your strategic planning process into a couple of different parts, in part to be able to give you the flexibility to still respond to COVID, and in part to be able to have this also align with the rhythm of your school years, because if this were to start on the timeline that we are proposing, you'd be starting mid-year. So one of our proposals is that the first part of the strategic planning process, we think it's important to spend some time preparing, looking at the data you have, identifying opportunities there, and also doing some initial high-level collaboration within the district. And that's what we would propose would be an available set of opportunities and activities that might happen in the first half of 2022. So we're calling that Part A, which would enable you, as you see here, to prepare, to create a project calendar, and also review the prior strategic plan for opportunities that are still relevant. This would then tee you up and position the district and the superintendent under her leadership, as well as others, to then in the fall process, with hopefully the pandemic receding, to really then go out and start a more robust collaboration with your community leaders and your stakeholders to really collect broader input that would lead to the actual drafting of strategy that could happen during the next academic year, when you could also leverage a little bit of the summertime to prepare for that in the following year. So what we're looking at right here is our proposal to be in conversation with you is about providing some initial support for the first few months of January to June of 2022. Aligned with this 5-phase process. And I'll just kind of quickly give you a quick sense of who we are, who our team is, and the other schools that we've worked with. And then I'm happy to take the lead from all of you of either answering any questions or having any conversation that you'd like to have. But our team consists of myself, my colleague Gilbert Y., who is on the call with us today, and our third collaborator, a woman named Christine Edgy Rose. We're also happy to provide all these slides in PDF format if anyone wants to pursue them in more detail. For myself, I've been doing strategic planning for schools now for about 20 years. My colleague Gilbert, who works with me in this business as a facilitation and strategic partner, he not only we both bring industry experience outside of education, but we've also worked inside education as well. So I've served as a teacher, an administrator. We've both had governance training. Gilbert's currently a publicly elected official on a school board in the San Francisco Bay Area. So we really try to come to our strategy work with deep understanding and appreciation for what it means to support schools, to support the students you serve, to support faculty and staff, and understanding that by bringing this level of in-depth experience, both inside schools and in strategy that happens in industries other than education, we really try to customize our process in a way that works for schools and school leaders and governance teams, and is specifically tailored to a school district. Some of our clients that we've worked with in the Bay Area, our public school clients, include districts like the Woodside School District, the Las Lomitas School District. We've worked with K-8 districts. We've worked with high school districts. We've also worked with charter schools and independent schools. So I'd like to propose that I pause there and just see what questions any of you have on the governance team, and I'm happy to answer those. And I can either leave my slides up or I can take them off if you prefer I stop sharing.
Thank you, Lana. Appreciate that short presentation. We've all had the opportunity to read your proposal, and I believe that we are comfortable with moving forward and excited to think about future things, anything but COVID, and make sure that we're planning appropriately for the future of TTUSD. Do any other board members have questions? Dee Dee?
Sorry, Lana. I don't have a question, but I do want to, I think we talked about it when we were reviewing your proposal, is that one of the things that's great is that you actually are looking at what we have, and there are things that that you're not recreating the wheel, but you're taking what we've got and sort of streamlining it. So I'm excited to see how you can take what we've got and celebrate our good things and our strengths, and then also be able to see our weaknesses knowing what we have. We are definitely a unique environment, as well as a unique district. And having you say that from the get-go is comforting, and I'm looking forward to seeing how we can, as Kim said, move on to something else, but yeah.
Great. All right. I think we're good. We appreciate you and Gilbert joining us this evening, and we look forward to you working with our staff and us on this project. So thank you.
Our pleasure. We look forward to seeing you again soon.
Thank you.
Take care and be safe.
Thank you, Gilbert. Thank you, Lana.
And is that the end of your report, Superintendent Geisel?
Yes, President Zurich, it is.
Great, thank you so much. Next, we're going to move on to a resolution, and this is a resolution approving School Board Appreciation Month, January 2022.
Yes, this is a very important resolution because it honors and acknowledges the 5 people that are sitting up here with the collective experience of a lot of years, right? So I wanted to thank all of you and each of you for the work that you do, the decisions that you make, and the mindset that you always keep in the forefront about our students being first and foremost, and even when it's difficult, like some evenings and some board meetings. So thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts. Each of you has a certificate, and if you don't mind, Gailey, can I read yours out loud? Thank you. It says, "For your dedicated service and commitment to public education, thank you for the significant contributions you have made to our school district and for always, always putting Tahoe Truckee students first." Thank you so much.
Thank you. So would someone like to make a motion to approve this resolution?
I'm going to just take the stand for a second, and I appreciate the fact that we have all these awards for us, but I think it's important to note that I think we as a team are pretty solid, and I think that it's been a long haul, but I also think that it's important that we are a unique board and that we really do respect each other's, I think we've grown a lot, but we respect each other's professionalisms and our idiosyncrasies and all of our quirks and whatnot. But I also think that we have a good team, and I think it's amazing working with all of the staff as well. We're 5 of us, and we are individuals, but we're also really supportive, but I think that we have a supportive entity and leading group. So with that, unless anyone else has any comments, I will make a motion to approve this resolution.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. I think that's 5-0, right, guys? Okay, thank you. As far as I know, there's no public waiting to comment on any other agenda item, but I will continue to double check on that when Joan comes back in. Okay, so next is our consent agenda. I understand we're removing item 11.1, but would we like to move approval of items 11.2 and 11.3?
I'll make a motion to approve item 11, 2, and 3 in the consent agenda.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, we got it. Thank you. Okay. Ms. Sabatini, I know you've been out. Do we have anyone wishing to comment on any further agenda items?
No.
On the agenda?
There's
Okay.
nobody for the agenda item.
Okay, so I'm not going to continue to call for public comment, but let that be noted. So if you'll take 11.1, Superintendent Geisels?
Yes, we made one change to the personnel action report. Ms. Apatini, can you explain that change for the board, please?
Yes, the revised report that you have in front of you, we removed one VSA for a Nordic coach at ACMS because that person will not be taking that position. So that was removed. All the rest is the same.
Thank you. Any comments or questions from board members? Would someone like to move approval?
We'll make a motion to approve the clarification of 11.1.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Look how flexible we are. I know that next we have association reports. I know that CSCA let us know that they didn't have anything.
Correct, yes.
For this evening, but we do have a TTEA representative,
Yes.
I believe.
Ms. DeLalo's on the line virtually.
Hi, Jess. We can't hear you, Jess. We can't hear you.
I want to be where she's at.
Yeah, me too. No, we cannot hear you. Nope.
It has nothing to do with us, right?
Huh?
Poor thing, she's so frustrated.
There, now we can hear you.
Okay.
There we go. Okay.
Okay. Good evening, Superintendent, Chief Learning Officer Geisels, members of the school board, executive cabinet, and those viewing from the gallery and those viewing from home. My name is Jess DeLalo, and I am the president of the Tahoe Truckee Education Association, the local chapter of California Teachers Association. First, While the circumstances surrounding the reasons while I am addressing you virtually is disheartening, I would like to thank the board for their flexibility and proactive actions in light of the rising COVID numbers. And secondly, TTEA would like to wish the TTUSD School Board a happy School Board Appreciation Month. We appreciate all that you do for our community and for our students. Finally, on behalf of the entire e-board, I would like to wish you all a very happy new year. The past 2 years have been emotional and physical roller coasters for just about everyone. COVID-19 has affected people in so many different ways. Distance learning, quarantine and lockdown, loss of employment, loss of life. These life events bring such big and heavy emotions with them, and I would just like to say how proud of our students I am. The last 2 years have not been how any of us wanted our students to spend their tenure at TTUSD, but they did it with grace and aplomb. Maybe not all the time, but neither did us adults. In a time when the very world that they knew was being deconstructed, the youth reached out with slogans of "We're all in this together" and "Kindness matters." Perhaps after suffering so much, it puts things into perspective for some. This is a difficult lesson to learn and incredibly heartbreaking to think that so many had to learn it so young. In light of all the changes, being separated from friends and family members, not being able to go to school or go to the park to play, our students did not become embittered or jaded. I personally have seen students who have so little share with others so that nobody goes without. I have seen the kindness of a stranger turn into friendship as nobody wants to be alone. And I have seen hope for the future turn into the laughter and happiness of our children. I've been teaching since 2006, and I have worked with a lot of kids. And I have to say that I am so proud of our COVID kids. That being said, I want to thank each and every person who had a hand in getting those students to where they are today. Their parents and grandparents, their siblings and cousins, teachers and administrators, secretaries and food service workers, custodians and bus drivers, and every other employee of TTUSD who makes it possible for us to keep our doors, whether virtual or in person, open and available to help them grow and develop into the wonderful people and students they are. If anyone ever doubted the old adage that it takes a village to raise a child, I think that COVID might have straightened them out. It is true that we have had our ups and downs the last 2 years, but the one shining and guiding light has been our students. I would like to thank them and the families who have entrusted them to us. I would like to wish everyone a very safe, happy, healthy, and hopefully calm and boring 2022. Thank you.
Thanks, Jess. Calm and boring sounds wonderful. Next, we're going to move on to our personnel section. The first of which is to approve the start and end dates for the next 2 school years. Superintendent Geisels.
Yes, Ms. Zapatini will be talking us through the calendars for the next 2 school years. Joan?
Thank you. It's exciting to bring the calendars, and I know there are a lot of parents and other people who are excited to hear about start and end dates for the breaks. So both calendars, we had a calendar committee that consisted of parents, admin, board members, CSEA, TTEA representatives, and looking at all of the nuances of the calendar. And we're excited to bring you a calendar that still maintains us starting a little bit later in August, because August is our time to really have that end of summer, but still gets us out at a reasonable time, even with 5 days of snow days. The nuances that are a little bit different in these two calendars from others, just because the way the calendars roll, is that for the winter break, normally we're out a week before and a week after, because the Christmas holiday falls starting on like a Monday or Tuesday, we were able to do the Friday before and then 2 weeks after, which give people a little bit longer break after the holidays. The other difference that we've had since the past several years is we will have spring break the first week of April. What that's going to do is that's going to benefit a lot of our athletes who are doing finals in some of our, I think it's snowboarding, skiing things. It's during that week, so they won't miss 2 weeks of school. They won't miss a week of school. They'll be out for that. So the board's responsibility in looking at this is really the beginning and the end days for both of the calendars, and we present to you both the 22-23 and 23-24 school year calendars.
Thank you, Ms. Zapatini, and thank you to Chris for participating on that committee. And it is a unique calendar with, especially with that second Christmas holiday in January. Maybe that'll be really nice for our locals to have some quieter holidays, I hope. Any board questions? Would someone like to make a motion?
I'll make sorry, yep. Oh, no, I was going to say thank you for all your work getting this done, and I will make a motion to approve the calendars for 22-23 and 23-24. And that's just the start and end dates.
Yes.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Our next personnel item is revisions to the classified job description for a receptionist. Is that okay?
So the district used to have a receptionist, which was a person at the front of the district office who basically greeted people, helped people facilitate their opportunities within the district office. When we went through layoffs back in 2012, that position was actually taken away, and now we're at the point where we can bring it back. We did, however, look at the job description, and it was back from 2006, and so things have changed a little bit since then. So we just updated the receptionist position to really address the needs, our current needs at the district office.
And we're hoping that this position is the face of TTUSD that would be able to reach out to the community as well as be a support to all of the departments here in the district office. So we're excited about this.
Questions? Would someone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the revisions to the classified job description of receptionist.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Okay, we're going to move on to curriculum and instruction, and we have a first read of adoption of instructional.
Excuse me, Kim.
Oh, I already
No
marked that
problem.
one off. I'm sorry. I was ahead of myself. We have a proposed revision to our certificated management job description, Coordinator of English Language Development and Accountability.
So this was a job description that we looked at, and we made a change to the title because it's our English learner programs and not just English learning development, and also took the opportunity to really, really focus on the job, essential job responsibilities and refine that. That's the only two changes to this.
Thank you. Questions? Would someone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the certificated management job description.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Okay, now we'll move on to curriculum and instruction, and I want to thank Val, I believe, for answering the homework questions. But, yeah, so Superintendent Geisels or Ms. Simpson? Ms. Simpson?
Ms. Simpson, if you want to speak to this agenda item.
All right, I'm on, thank you. So just pleased to be able to bring these sets of instructional materials. Stay away from calling them textbooks now, because we know that instructional materials actually represent what is actually used in the classroom more globally. And so our high school teachers, this has been a long haul because this process started before COVID. And then, you know, COVID happened, and then we got right back on this horse and wrapped this up. And so we have 4 textbooks that we're bringing tonight for the courses outlined in the staff report. And we have 2 main publishers, Savas, I think is how it's pronounced. I always struggle with that. And then the other one is, it's actually called, it's Cengage, but it's National Geographic, which I think, you know, is near and dear to all of our hearts because we always love those pictures in there. And that textbook has some great pictures, as well as the others. The other piece I want to say about the Savas 3 textbooks is that we actually are looking at, are looking at that for science as well. And so there might be some connection in there. And then also with, I believe, our world language. So sometimes it's kind of nice to have the same publisher because the formats align. So if there's any questions for me on this process or the textbooks, I'd be happy to answer those. We do have them out there for public preview for the 30 days. And you have a heavy lifting.
Yeah. Yes, we're going to have heavy backpacks like the kids.
Right, I know. Oh, the other thing, hold on, Gayla. One thing I do want to say, though, with that makes, it reminds me that what we're doing moving forward because of Williams compliance laws that require a student to have access to their instructional materials at all times, we're looking at ordering digital licenses for all students and then class sets plus extras that students, if needed, can check out if that's a better fit for them. So that's moving forward. That's what we're looking at doing.
Galen, I think when we got on the school board, you were hoping that we went to all digital books. And look,
Yeah.
here we are.
Yes, so I wouldn't have to carry these home. One question, Val. The human geography, we approved a textbook a few years ago. Is this a different one now?
This one is a different one. If my memory serves me, that was for not the AP version, but just the human geography class. I can't remember the exact title of the course, but yes, you're accurate. Mm-hmm.
Any further questions? So this is an information item only. This will come back in 2 meetings for approval. Is that correct?
Correct, yes.
Okay. I expect all board members to get through all of these, right, in the next 30 days. Okay. Thank you to all of the staff for the hard work in selecting this. So very much appreciated.
It's been a very long haul. Thank you.
Next, we're going to move on to business services, Mr. Rivera's, and that is review and approve the annual 5-year accounting for developer fees.
Yes. So Todd is here to present the annual accounting of developer fees, public notice presentation. Mr. Rivera?
Thank you. So the district collects...
Todd, you're not on.
Todd, you may just want to use the mic. Is it on? Oh, because it goes in and out.
Can you hear me?
You might want to just use the mic that Val was using. That might work.
Thank you. So Tahoe Truckee Unified School District collects fees on new residential and commercial development within the boundaries of our school district. For the purposes of school facilities improvements, the law requires any entity that does charge development fees to provide an annual report to their board, which essentially highlights the purpose of the fee, the amounts that were collected, what the fees were spent on, and then also do what are called 5-year findings, which essentially the law requires that if a public agency does not spend those development fees within a 5-year period, they need to actually provide either a reason why they have not spent them, potentially a future use for those fees, or return those fees to the developers. Do we have that presentation? Is the presentation?
Yeah, I cannot get the computer. It is coming.
Well, the presentation isn't up on the screen. I could still go through it if you prefer, or we could wait for it.
And we've got it.
They have a-
We- We've had a chance to review
All
it
right,
at least.
let me just go through some of the basics here. So for the 2020-2021 school year, Tahoe Truckee Unified collected $3.69 per square foot on all new residential development and additions, and up to 61 cents per square foot on all commercial industrial development. And that varies according to the type of commercial structure that is built. For instance, lodging, we charge 26 cents per square foot, industrial parks, 38 cents per square foot, community shopping, 40 cents per square foot, restaurants, 59 cents per square foot, and self-storage at a whopping 1 penny per square foot. We also have several mutual benefit agreements, which are in lieu of statutory fees. We actually have in the past made some agreements directly with developers that have alternative fee schedules, and we will talk a little bit about that as well. But those mutual benefit fees are not required to be reported on. Oh,
There you go, Todd.
there we go.
You've made it through half the slides already.
Yeah, not quite, but I got about a half hour more of. No, I'm just kidding.
Yes, we know you're joking.
Of course, this isn't working, but, so,
Just keep
anyway,
going.
moving on. So in 2020, 2021, our beginning balance at the start of the year of developer fees was just a little bit over $1,009,000. We collected $4,081,603 last year. That is the most we have collected since before the Great Recession. So a pretty stellar year as far as development in our community. Interest earnings were about $12,000. And then our overall expenditures were just over $3.1 million. And just to highlight some of the main categories of our developer fee expenditures, there we go. So the main expenditure that we had was for our 2019 certificates of participation, the debt service on those. That was over $2.2 million of that 3.1. Other significant expenditures were for our Truckee High School reconstruction project. At the beginning of that project, we did allocate or dedicate a certain portion of developer fees to supplement that project as far as funding. We can move forward. So for the mutual benefit of fees, we began the 2021 school year with just under $900,000 in the bank for those. Our overall revenues that were collected for mutual benefit agreements were just over $229,000. Most of that was related to Gray's Crossing, which we have a mutual benefit agreement with, giving us an ending balance of $1,128,354. And a lot of that money will be allocated towards our indoor field space. That's what we've allocated or dedicated those funds for. And then lastly, the 5-year report. We do not have any developer fees that have been collected within the last 5 years that have not been spent. Therefore, we've met the requirements of the 5-year report. Other items to consider moving forward in the future are a potential fee increase. Every 2 years, the state does increase the level 1 statutory fee amounts, and the district's required to do an updated fee study in order to justify that amount. Currently, the district is not charging the state maximum because we could not actually qualify to charge that. That's what that $3.69 is. However, things have changed. Construction costs have gone up for the school district, so we're going to be looking at doing an updated fee study in the near future. Any questions?
Thank you, Todd. I don't know, did you have any questions from the Contractors Association? I know Pat Davidson used to be very active in reviewing this.
No questions.
So I do appreciate the thought on updating the fee schedule. That's my opinion, because I know Kat always advocated that, and I always agreed with them that we need to continue with incremental increases, not large increases that make it hard for building community to swallow all at once. So thank you for that. Questions? Dee Dee, I saw that you
Yeah, I
did.
just was thinking that, we've had, and I'm just thinking out of the box for a second, but we had so much opportunity for development with all of the Grace Crossings and with Lahontan and all the other Gulf little sub places. Are we ever, I know Lake Tahoe side had a moratorium. Are we ever, I'm not a developer, are we still looking at a lot of big, huge places to come up? Like you mentioned that this is the most we've ever gotten. Are we at a lull in development, or are we planning for that if we change our strategy on how much we have now and how much we will be getting?
Yeah, it seems like, just my experience being here, there's a lot of ebbs and flows with regards to development in our community, and we do have some large ones that are still in the process of being constructed. One I can mention is Coldstream, which is right over there off of Deerfield Drive by the Chevron station, and that one's going pretty strong.
Okay.
But we did have several large developments last year that were completed. You had the Coburn Crossing apartment complex, you had the resident, like the Marriott that was built over there. We still continue to see Grace Crossing build out. And then there's some other still unapproved developments that haven't been fully approved yet. But just looking at what's out there still to be built, we're expecting probably not as large as what we're seeing here, but at least an annual amount that will satisfy our debt service requirements for the COPs.
Because that's, again, I don't want everyone to think that this was where we made this was a big deal, and then I don't know how long it's going to come, because I am very aware of the ebbs and webs, and so I just thank you for clarifying.
Right, but we do continue to monitor that annually and just see what's out there, what's still approved, what's still left to be built. So there is a substantial amount of units still remaining that have been planned or approved within our community.
Other questions? Would someone like to make a motion to approve this, accept this report and approve it?
I will thank Todd for all that, and I'll make a motion to approve the 16.1.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Next, we'll move on to board comments. Ms. Levac, would you like to start us off?
I don't have any comments this evening, thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Driller?
I'm clear on comments, thank you.
Mr. Larson?
Yes, I have no comments.
Okay, I have a comment, and I know Rory can't look at probably in the back of our room, but I just want to acknowledge that one of our schools, maybe Glenshire, Lupita, I'm not sure, put up a wonderful display that says "Your actions matter," and this relates to honoring our environment. And the kids always bring it up. The kids are, the mood and the positivity. So I really want to acknowledge that display and appreciate our kids' work to have our environment be at top of mind.
This was from SWEP,
from
from Missy
SWEP.
Moore.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Missy Moeller and SWEP. Thank you so much. Chris?
I wanted to acknowledge facilities because the board received some pretty epic photographs from their snow clearing of all the sites. And in a way, I can't help but to think how fun, but I know it's hard work. I know it's a lot of hard work because my home and our business lot where we keep construction trucks is a lot of work. So that times a million is what facilities had to take care of. And I just want to really appreciate them for keeping our schools safe and able to open. And then I just want to encourage everyone, I know we as board members, part of our skill set is we have to have thick skin, right? Because we're governing for an entire school district and not everyone is of the same mindset. But I just want to encourage people to please be sensitive, please be aware, wear your mask when you're asked to. We need to keep our schools open. We need to keep our kids in school. My daughter's taking COVID tests to go to sleepovers. That's what it has come to. Parents are requiring it, So I just wanted a gentle reminder, so that when we get public comments, it's not about you and us and me and decisive and, finger pointing. We need to keep our schools open. So just a gentle reminder on that. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. We are adjourned until our next regular meeting. Thank you so much.